Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 240 for April 19th, 2022. I'm your host, Randy Snow. Today we're going to talk about the first USFL games played in 37 years, as well as Terrell Owens making his debut in fan-controlled football. In our history lesson this week, we tell the story of the Detroit Lions' winless season of 1942. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Oh, God, if we're going to talk about another winless Lions season, I'm going to have to crack open a cold one. Oh, man, I can't even with this football team and their losing seasons.
Yeah, that diet root beer you're drinking is not the...
It is not diet.
It's not going to take the sting away. From
zero calorie Zevia creamy root beer.
Oh,
so
man.
It is great. Not a sponsor.
We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to inform and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We have a brand new league out this week, and what was
brand new old league?
Brand new old league, however you want to look at it. Technically, a new league. It has no affiliation with the previous USFL, other than
in court.
Other than in the courtroom, and sharing some similar names, likenesses, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But anyway, we all know it's just the spring league with a fresh coat of paint. Anyway. What was supposed to be originally a 2-day premiere for the league this weekend actually turned into a 3-day extravaganza. And let's start things off with Saturday night with a very pleasant game between the Birmingham Stallions and New Jersey Generals, which saw the hometown Birmingham Stallions defeat those Generals 28-24. This did come down to the wire. It was a heck of a finish.
Yeah,
I'll admit I was entertained by that game.
Yeah,
this game was on Fox and NBC. It was simulcast, as we talked about last week. The attendance for the game ended up being 17,500 fans, and over 3 million viewers got to see the game from home.
Yeah, that was a combination of TV, online streaming platforms, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
still,
that's pretty good.
That's still a pretty good number. The stands looked pretty packed. It was a pleasant sight to see. And, some interesting an interesting note from the game, Harlan Hill Trophy winner, the Division II equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, went to a player several years back named Luis Perez, and he was actually playing quarterback for the New Jersey Generals. He was one of 2 quarterbacks they had during the game.
Yep.
So I know you wanted to make note of that, but as far as the game, the product on the field, all the little innovations that they were trying to implement, I say it worked for that first night.
It was fun. I know a lot of people tuned in just to see, the novelty of it. The stands looked pretty full for that first game. And, of course, all the games are played in the same stadium. So the next day, there were supposed to be 3 games played, and there was rain, and there was a delay.
Well, don't get ahead of me, because now we go on to the second game,
okay.
I guess. Gosh,
right.
Ruining my ebb and flow over here. So we go to Sunday, where not as many fans showed up because we did have a weather delay. It pushed all the games back by an hour and even canceled one game altogether, which was pushed back to the next day. So the first game, which finally ended up getting played around 1 o'clock after a 1-hour weather delay, the Houston Gamblers and Michigan Panthers, a team that we're trying to get into, but oh boy, the Michigan Panthers. Are we going to have another headache here in the homelands of the Detroit Lions, hoping for something better, but it's the same old, same old.
The original Michigan Panthers back in 1983 started the season 1-4 and still went on to win the championship that year. So it's just one game.
Yeah, we'll see. But
don't have a heart attack.
The Houston Gamblers defeated the Michigan Panthers 17-12, 17-0 in the first half. So both teams shut the other team out in each half. Michigan looked a lot better in the second half. The Gamblers held on for dear life there at the end, but man, the quarterback play for the Panthers was not good at all.
Yeah, the Houston defense looked pretty good.
Houston defense looked pretty good for most of the game till that second half once Michigan started getting going. But Shea Patterson and, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? First-round quarterback, went to the Broncos. Come on, what's the other quarterback Michigan had?
I don't
Oh my
remember.
God, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
You'll think about it in a minute.
I probably won't. Because guess what? They were both terrible. But so we'll see if Michigan's quarterback play gets any better. I was really excited to see this team, and now I'm just kind of like, I could probably miss the rest of the season if they keep playing like this. Then the second game on Sunday, the New Orleans Breakers defeated the Philadelphia Stars. This game was actually a lot of fun, too, there towards the end. The Breakers taking that one 23-17. This game was on the USA Network, which I thought was interesting. But, it still have an affiliation with NBC, so that makes some sense there.
Absolutely hate the New Orleans Breakers helmets. They are atrocious.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the Michigan Panthers helmets.
Well, everybody knows I don't care for them.
Yeah, the Breakers, I could go one way or the other. I like their new logo itself, but the helmet design...
Helmet made no sense at all.
Not as great as
Terrible.
their old helmet.
The original was gorgeous.
Whatever. And then moving on, so that ended up, the third game that was supposed to be played that night ended up just being delayed altogether to the next day. So we ended up having Monday Night Football, but USFL style. The Tampa Bay Bandits took on the Pittsburgh Maulers and defeated the Maulers 17-3. This game was on FS1. I thought the Bandits looked pretty good. They were Tamau, the quarterback there for the...
Tamu?
Yeah, Tamu. He was in the XFL in the last iteration. He's hopped around to a few NFL teams. But I thought Tamau looked like the best quarterback of the weekend, to be honest with you. He had some sharp passes. Definitely looked like the most experienced guy out there. And the Maulers looked like a poorly run team from top to bottom, and I'm sure we'll talk about them in a minute.
They were terrible. Was Tampa Bay really that good, or was Pittsburgh just that bad?
A combination of both.
Wow.
But, yeah, so 17-3, the Bandits defeat the Maulers. So that's your week one of the USFL. I wonder if anybody else out there listening and got to catch any of this, because I think on the whole, it was a decent weekend of football. Yeah. I say decent.
Between the four games, we saw pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
We missed some here and there, but we got to see a good share of all four games over the weekend. Your mom wasn't too happy. Another holiday, Easter Sunday, and we're having to put the game on pause while we sat down and had dinner, and then we all went back to the TV and caught up on what was going on, because that was the Michigan Panthers.
Sorry,
game.
Jesus, football was on the TV.
Yeah. But some notes from the USFL. Everybody's been talking about the video of the Maulers team cutting running back Devion Smith on a show called United by Football that's been on FS1, and I thought it was just a one-time thing, that they played before the first game. I caught a bit of it that night, but I guess you said it's a whole series.
That's how it looked like. They called it a docu-series.
Yeah,
so
okay. Well,
it might be a week in, week out kind of thing to look for.
But so they're it's kind of a complicated story. The player made some terrible comments to one of the food service workers because they tried to give him a chicken salad and he didn't want that. He said he didn't eat that stuff and he wanted pizza, and they let him go from the team. But the team said that this was like the third incident in
24 hours.
24 hours. Team rules that he had broken, and they weren't going to put up with that. And boy, there's been like a Twitter war going on back and forth between the team and the league and him, and oh my gosh, it's a mess. But they're calling it Pizzagate.
Oh my God, Pizzagate.
So
you put Pizzagate in parentheses. I was like, is this a network I'm not familiar with? But
no, that's what some people are calling it.
Oh boy, I mean, from my perspective, and take that for what you will, totally just ridiculous. I think I'm more on the player's side than the way the coach was rationalizing everything. It just sounded utterly ridiculous. I've not seen any proof. This guy seemed pretty laid back. He didn't seem like that kind of guy, but I don't know. These guys, behind closed doors could be absolute jerks. We don't know. Well, and who knows? We weren't there for his interaction with these cafeteria people. The way he explained himself was, hey, look, all I said was, that's not what I'm into. Do you have this? That's all that interaction was. There was no disrespect there whatsoever. So, who knows? The truth lies somewhere in between. But I think that the coach especially did not come off looking great at all to me. But
I saw a post-game conference after their game last night where he was addressing the whole situation again, and he was saying something about God, I lost my train of thought. He said that he would support the player. He'd give him a good recommendation to any other team, and he said nobody's come forward to try. I don't know if he meant USFL team. Nobody's approached him about wanting to sign him just yet. So he's like, if somebody wanted a recommendation, I would do whatever I could to get this guy a spot on another team, whether it's NFL or wherever. But he just said, yeah, nobody's contacted me yet. So that's where he left that. So. But anyway, there were some other notes I had. They used the Skycam, which everybody's using the Skycam these days, but they also had a live drone flying around. That was a little... I mean, it was okay, but yeah, it was very distracting at times because...
It sounded like somebody was out there like weed whacking their lawn during every play.
You said you could hear it.
I could hear it all the time. Oh.
But, you'd be looking at the play and the cameras...
That's what I hear in the background. I'm like... Hut, hike, wee! That's every play. I swear. It was getting on my nerves. It was so annoying.
The camera's on the line of scrimmage, and you can see the two teams getting ready for a play, and all of a sudden, across the screen, you see this little dark-colored drone going by, and you think, Mike, was that a bird or what? And then you keep realizing, they got this drone going around, and it's flying all over the place, trying to get the best angle for whatever. And they had some good scenes from it, during plays and whatnot. So I think it's good. I don't think the resolution is as good. So you can tell when you're looking at a drone shot and when you're looking at the Skycam shot. It's interesting, a little distracting, but that's what they want to do, though. I
don't know. I think it could work. Get a quieter drone and get better resolution on that thing, and keep it out of the shot. If you know you're going to do a shot with the drone, keep it back far enough so when we're on the regular, like, not 50-yard line, but like looking at everything from the side, like typical football watching view, don't let it be sitting down there in the corner, because instead of watching the play, I'm like, oh, look, there's the drone down there looking like it's about to sneak up on that wide receiver. No, I don't want to see that. Like, if it was off frame, totally different. So they need to coordinate that a lot better.
Yeah, and you're looking at the drone and you miss the play because you're wondering what the drone's going to do.
Or I'm looking around the room like, why is there a fly buzzing around in here? And oh, no, it's just the drone on the TV.
Yeah. Well, everybody uses a Skycam, but you hardly ever see that in the shot. They've got that down to a science.
Right.
Where it's there, but you don't see it on TV.
You'll see the shadow, most likely.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see the shadow, but, then you finally see the replay from that vantage point, and you're like, oh, yeah, they got that Skycam going around in there. Yeah. You don't see it on TV. At the stadium, of course, you can't avoid it.
I don't know how far in advance they plan on using a drone camera, but hopefully that improves.
Yeah, either improve or
just get rid of it. It doesn't mean anything to me right now. You already got a Skycam. I don't need a drone footage.
Yeah, and the USFL Trophy I saw for the first time Saturday night, and it's nothing but a Lombardi Trophy ripoff. A big silver football on a big tall pedestal.
It looked like one of those fantasy football trophies you could buy online for your fantasy league.
The first thing I thought of was, my God, they got the Vince Lombardi Trophy out there. How inventive can you get to come up with something like that? I'm sure the NFL is not crazy about that design, but I reposted a story on that today too, so you can get a better look at the trophy from there. I thought it was interesting they have a 35-second play clock instead of a 40-second play clock like the NFL has. And lastly, this just came out today. You probably haven't heard this, but it was supposed to be today, but I guess it happened late yesterday. A federal judge declines to block the new USFL from using the names and logos of the original USFL back in the 80s, because they've got a lawsuit going on. But he did indicate that the original USFL owners most likely will prevail in their trademark infringement lawsuit. So the only thing he didn't do was he did not impose a preliminary injunction to stop them immediately from using it until the lawsuit can be settled. He's going to allow them to use it, but he still said, I think they got a good case, and they may wind up getting a bunch of money, the old owners from the new owners.
A bunch of money from a league that it's just going to be another one that ends up folding? Goodness gracious.
I don't know. So that's, we were wondering what was going to go on, because that wasn't supposed to happen until after the games were all played. And now we know. The judge said, let them keep using them until we decide what's going on in court. And who knows? The original USFL may win their case, saying that, you can't use them because we own them. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, if that's it for our USFL notes, we're going to move on with the scoreboard. It was week 6 in the Indoor Football League, and we had a plethora of games from Friday night through Sunday, starting with Friday's lone game, which saw the Arizona Rattlers defeat the San Diego Strike Force 66-33. Then on Saturday, as part of a quintuple header, I don't think they all happened back-to-back, but there were 5 games on Saturday. The first being a massive upset, which saw the Green Bay Blizzard defeat the Massachusetts Pirates, the defending champions, 38-31. This is the first win of the season for those Green Bay Blizzard. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No,
you held your hand up, or did I hit the note you wanted?
No, that's what I wanted you to mention.
Yep. All right. Well, I did it in only the ways I know how to, which is stealing your thunder.
Okay.
Also on Saturday, the Iowa Barnstormers defeated the Sioux Falls Storm. We don't have a score in there because somebody forgot to put it in.
I forgot to put that in. Wow.
Okay. Moving on, the Duke City Gladiators defeated the Tucson Sugar Skulls 57-52. The Frisco Fires were prevailers over the Quad City Steamwheelers 68-51. The Northern Arizona Wranglers continue their winning ways, defeating the Vegas Nighthawks 30-20. And then on Sunday, we saw the Bismarck Bucks defeat the Bay Area Panthers 76-46. And with that, we're going to look at the standings real quick. In the East, the Frisco Fighters lead the way with a 4-1 record, followed by the Barnstormers of Iowa and the Massachusetts Pirates, both with 3-1 records. The Bismarck Bucks sit with a 3-2 record. The Quad City Steamwheelers sit at 2-3, along with the Sioux Falls Storm. And the Green Bay Blizzard round out that division with a 1-4 record. In the west side of the league, the Arizona Rattlers are undefeated with a 5-0 record, followed by the Northern Arizona Wranglers. They are 3-1. I wanted to call it 31. They are 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Then, with 2-3 records, the Duke City Gladiators and Vegas Nighthawks sit, followed by the 1-3 Tucson Sugar Skulls, and rounding out the bottom of the division, the Bay Area Panthers and San Diego Strike Force at 1-4. And with that, we're going to throw it over to Randy to finish out the scoreboard with Champions Indoor Football.
All right. We had 2 games on Saturday and 1 on Sunday.
Week 6, by the way.
In Week 6, Saturday night, the Billings Outlaws defeated the Southwest Kansas Storm by the score of 65-20. That was a real beatdown. And the Sioux City Bandits over the Salina Liberty 36-29 in a much closer game. And then on Sunday, it was the Wyoming Mustangs over the Rapid City Marshals 59-51. That left the Omaha Beef and the Topeka Tropics with byes this week. So in CIF standings, you have the Sioux City Bandits at 4-0, Omaha Beef at 3-1, Billings Outlaws at 2-1, Salina Liberty and Southwest Kansas Storm at 2-2, the Rapid City Marshals at 1-2, Wyoming Mustangs at 1-3, and the lowly Topeka Tropics at 0-4. So you got one undefeated team, one winless team in the CIF, and in the IFL you got just the one undefeated team, which is the Arizona Rattlers at 5-0. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard. A lot more games than I expected this time of year, but CIF and IFL and USFL all going on, and you got more things coming up pretty soon. It's a busy time for the World of Football.
For the scoreboard, and you even missed a score, so way to go.
Yeah.
Try to do better next week.
I'll try and do better next week.
You know who won't screw up? My brother and I when we take over the show on May 17th, everybody. Mark your calendars.
I can't wait to hear that. I want to see you put in some time and actually do some research to put this whole thing together.
All I got to do is open a website.
You're going to be pulling your hair out trying to put together something that sounds halfway credible.
You're going to be so mad how easy I'm going to make it look.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get into some NFL news. The auction for Tom Brady's final touchdown football has been voided. That means that guy, whoever bought it, I don't think he ever said who it was. It was an anonymous buyer. But he does not have to pay the $518,000 for that football that's not
the final
worth anything anymore.
Right.
It's just another touchdown pass. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, and it's good for him. I mean, I thought that was ridiculous that you're selling something as one thing, and it turns out that it's really not. So
Well, that's not him. It was the last one until
right,
Tom
at the
Brady
time,
decided to come back out.
But but this guy hadn't actually paid for it yet. He didn't have the football, so they just decided to void the whole transaction. And
And now you just have a nice NFL football that just so happens to be thrown by Tom Brady.
yeah, well, hey, he may not even want it now, so I don't know. He'll just go back up at auction, and somebody will buy it for $100 next month. All right, we got some XFL news. The XFL has announced their 8 head coaches for next year. You have former NFL player Hines Ward, also former player and Hall of Famer Rod Woodson is going to be a coach. Wade Phillips, who was the head coach in the NFL for several different teams, including the Buffalo Bills when Doug Flutie was there. Bob Stoops, the University of Oklahoma's head coach, and he was also the XFL's Dallas Renegades head coach in 2020. He's back for another go. Terrell Buckley, former NFL player, is going to be a head coach, as well as Jim Haslett, who was a coach in the NFL, and he was also the head coach of the UFL's Florida Tuskers, and you remember them, and the World League of American Football's Sacramento Surge. He was also the head coach of their team. Reggie Barlow, another former NFL player, and Anthony Becht, former NFL player, and those are going to be your 8 coaches in the XFL next year. So a lot of NFL experience. You know, some of these guys have never been head coaches before, but I mean, you got to start somewhere, and they got a few others with some NFL coaching experience. So it's I guess it'll be a good mix of experienced and inexperienced people getting another shot.
Yep. Give me the logos and give me the team names. Dang it.
Yeah, I thought we might have heard something by now, but maybe that's because one of the coaches they said was going to be the Orlando franchise, which they've never had an Orlando franchise. Well, they had the Orlando Rage way back when, but now they're going to put one there. So
maybe they're going to bring some of those teams back.
I don't know. Let's see here. Fan-controlled football version 2.0. We haven't really talked about them much this year. We talked about them a lot last year. We watched many of their games.
I think it was a great novelty at first, and I think this year I don't know.
I'm done with it.
It's just I think for me it's worn off, but it can't stay out of the news apparently.
Yeah. Well, they've expanded from 4 teams to 8 teams this year.
Yeah.
But the first story that we've got here is that Pro Football Hall of Fame wide receiver Terrell Owens, who is 48 years old, scored a touchdown on the final play of the game for his team, the Zappers, versus the should-have-been Stars team. The pass was thrown by quarterback Laquan Horton. Is this considered garbage time? Because that was his only catch of the game.
It was literally the last play of the game.
Yeah, the last play of the game.
They were already losing. There's no way they could have come back to win.
Are they throwing him in there just so that he could get his name in the news?
I don't know. I didn't watch any of the full game. I don't know how many snaps he got, how that all worked.
This might have
if
been
those fans were watching trying to get it to T.O., you'd think that every play would have been just throw it to T.O.
Right.
Throw it to T.O.
Yeah. But Johnny Manziel is also on that team. Just he wasn't. I don't know if he was playing that night or if because they rotated.
He might be
their
injured.
quarterbacks
I'm not sure
last
if he's
year.
dealing with an injury or not. Last I saw, but I could be wrong.
So that'd have been an even bigger story if Manziel, to Terrell Owens, but that didn't happen. They, like I said, they do have 8 teams this year. 3 teams from last year: the Glacier Boys, the Zappers, and the Beasts are all back. And then you've got teams this year called the Bored Apes, the Should Have Been Stars, the Knights, the Kingpins, and the Eight Okie.
Yes, based off Steve Aoki, the famous musician, because he's an owner. So
yeah, Eight Okie is another team, and all these games are played in Atlanta. Some of the owners this year include Jamal Anderson, Steve Aoki, like I said, never heard of. Cynthia Freeland from the NFL Network owns the team.
Only because I hate her stupid mathematical model. Every time I watch something on NFL Network, her sticking, my mathematical model indicates that this is going to happen. Whatever. No, it does not. I think you're just making stuff up.
And also Tiki and Rondé Barber. I don't know if they own the same team or if they own different teams, but they are both owners of teams. Now, the league has partnered with Pullman Yards in Atlanta. I'm not sure where that's at, but they got to build their own state-of-the-art studio venue to produce and play games this season.
I'll admit, when I saw the highlight, I was like, this looks weird. What did they do to the arena that they're playing? It actually looks really interesting the way it's kind of set
up. Whole new
up.
place from where they played last year.
But like it literally looks like they're playing in a big old cage, and like it looked weird. But I I kind of was impressed with it. I'm kind of curious to know more about it. So I didn't know it was a big custom thing. I thought it was just a new venue.
Yeah.
But to find out that it was built specifically with this in mind is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, last year they were on Twitch, which I'd never heard of until we started watching them on.
Well, you clearly, I mean, you're not a millennial, you're not a Gen
No.
X or Gen Z or whatever they're on now.
But this year the games are on DAZN and NBC LX, and I don't know if they're still on Twitch this year or not. Their website only mentioned DAZN and NBC LX, so I don't even know where to access either of those either. But I'm sure you do. So yeah, that was their first week of the season last week. So that just started. I didn't even know they'd started up. I kind of had an idea they were out there somewhere, but I didn't get much news or anything about them. So that's all I know about fan-controlled football 2.0 this year.
And unless T.O. keeps balling out and scoring touchdowns, we probably won't talk about him a whole lot.
Probably not. Okay, college news. Now this just came out a little while ago. I think you were probably driving home when I saw this on the internet. The 2023 College Football National Championship game is going to be played on January 9th, 2023, at SoFi Stadium in California.
Yeah, they got to pay that stadium off.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. They're going to be bidding on all these different things. They've already got the LA Bowl. Now they're going to have the national championship game in a couple of years.
They'll probably get another Super Bowl within the next 5-10 years.
They probably will. They'll put them in the heavy rotation right along with Dallas and
New Orleans,
Miami, New Orleans. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, SoFi Stadium is getting everything right now.
Hey, it's a nice, beautiful stadium. It's now better than, not that I've seen it, but it looks better than AT&T Stadium, which was already kind of football mecca, which we got to see before. Yeah. It was an impressive stadium. I'll give them that. It's an impressive stadium, but between this and Allegiant Stadium, the Las Vegas Stadium, I mean, that's going to be the cream of the crop stadiums. Now, I think they dwarf whatever is going on with AT&T Stadium. So
yeah, I don't know if you're going to see a stadium that's going to equal SoFi Stadium for quite a while.
Oh no, I doubt it. I mean
that was just
we got Buffalo getting a new stadium. That'll be a 2 That won't be that big of a deal. I mean, it'll probably be semi state of the art, but it won't touch what LA's got.
Right.
Not until a team moves to London or something will we see something that extravagant.
Yeah. And I don't think they're going to build an NFL stadium in London. They'll just use what they got there already.
Yeah. But I mean, what other teams could build a stadium like that? Like, are there any other markets? The only other market I could think of that could do this and maybe get close would be Chicago. But they're more into renovating and upgrading Soldier Field as opposed to a new stadium. But there's been those rumors flying around about Chicago wanting a new stadium. Isn't that something that they've talked about? Or am I crazy? I thought I heard those rumors.
No, I don't think I've heard that.
Maybe that's something I read. I could be wrong. I could have swore like somebody talked about Chicago wanting a new stadium.
Maybe you're a Chicago fan at work that you work with.
I don't know. Maybe they complain about a lot of Chicago stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Like that's the only other market I could think of that would, when it comes time for a new stadium in the next 5-10 years, that could possibly match or rival a SoFi or a Allegiant Stadium. Because, I mean, a lot of teams have already got new stadiums. Like some of the markets I'm thinking of at the top of my head, I'm like, nope, they got a new stadium. Nope, they got a new stadium. Nope, their stadium's fine. Like, I can't think of anybody else, at least in the near future, that would warrant a new upgraded facility or stadium other than Chicago. Chicago's the one I could think of that might be the next one if they did it.
Yeah, who knows? All right, Arena Football TV on YouTube. One of their recent games was a game from 2000 between the Florida Bobcats and the Buffalo Destroyers. What's interesting about this game is that the Buffalo head coach was Ray Bentley, and if you're not familiar with him, he grew up here in Michigan, in Hudsonville, Michigan. He went to Central Michigan University. He played linebacker for the original Michigan Panthers back in the 80s, as well as the Oakland Invaders. He played for the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, and now this was his first season as head coach of the Buffalo Destroyers. And he used to do, like I was telling you earlier, he used to do a morning radio talk show, sports talk here in Michigan from a station up in Grand Rapids that I used to listen to all the time. I really enjoyed listening to him. Now he's doing NFL games, but, between gigs he was doing morning sports talk, and always had something interesting to say, so I've always liked Ray Bentley. But on the broadcast was also our favorite Eli Gold and Jill Arrington on the sideline.
Classic.
So great combination of down on the field and up in the booth talent.
Arena football never got any better than Eli Gold being in the booth.
Right.
There might have been one or two other guys who could have, made a game worth watching in the booth. But Eli Gold, when you knew it was him doing it,
that voice,
he can make a dull game exciting.
Yeah, exactly. All right, today's birthday, April 19th, defensive back Troy Palamalu turns 40 years old today. He played his college football at USC and was the 16th overall pick in the 2003 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played 12 NFL seasons, all in Pittsburgh, from 2003 to 2014. He was a two-time Super Bowl champ, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2020. That Hall of Fame bust of his is going to be...
It's one of the greatest busts of all time.
With his hair. I mean, they couldn't put all of his hair on there, but they got a good share of it on that.
It is one of the best busts of all time. They've had 2 or 3 of the best busts of all time go in the Hall of Fame this past year, so good on them.
Yeah.
And good on him.
And he's doing those Head and Shoulders commercials now,
Still
and he's the
those.
perfect pitch man. He is so funny in those commercials.
He is. He's great.
They should team him up with Peyton Manning. Man,
hold on.
Those would be awesome.
They got him teamed up with, what's his name, the Super Bowl quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. So, Patrick can be funny sometimes. He's no Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu upstages Patrick
Mahomes.
In
I love Troy Polamalu.
He's awesome. We need more Troy Polamalu commercials.
Yes, we do.
Get him to endorse other products too, not just Head and Shoulders, which makes perfect sense with that big head of hair he's got. But yeah, give him something else to do a commercial for. I'll be down for that.
What else could he? I mean, you could just give him any product. But I'm trying to think, what other products could he do? Hair bands.
Some of those deodorant commercials, the Old Spice things.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure he's not hurting for sponsorship.
Probably not. But
Head and Shoulders probably paid for his newest house. So,
but I do like him. All right, obituaries today. We have a few of them. This is where we take a moment to honor those who've made the world of football a better place. And we're going to start out with the first obituary, Gary Brown, who played and coached in the NFL. He has passed away of cancer at the age of 52. Brown played running back at Penn State and was selected in the 8th round of the 1991 NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers. He played for the Oilers from 1991 to 1995. Then he was with the San Diego Chargers in 1997, and he was with the New York Giants in 1998 and 1999. He then went into coaching. He was an assistant coach with the Cleveland Browns from 2009 to 2012, also with the Dallas Cowboys from 2013 to 2019, and also in the college ranks with the Wisconsin Badgers in 2021.
Our second obituary is that of Ed Jasper, a defensive lineman in the NFL for 9 seasons, has passed away at the age of 49. Jasper played college football at Texas A&M and was selected in the 6th round of the 1997 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. He played in Philadelphia from 1997 to 1998, then went on to play for the Atlanta Falcons from 1999 to 2004, as well as playing with the Oakland Raiders in 2005.
And finally, our last obituary is that of Richard Swatland, who played 1 season as an offensive lineman in the American Football League. He has passed away at the age of 76. Swatland played college football at Notre Dame and won a national championship with the Irish in 1966. He was then selected in the 8th round of the 1968 AFL Draft by the Houston Oilers. Did they have was that the combined? No, there was a combined draft that year. Yeah, they started having the combined draft around 1968.
Okay.
So probably the NFL draft, not the AFL draft, I'm sorry. But anyway, he was picked in 68 by the Houston Oilers, and he played just the 1 season there. But after football, he had a long career as a real estate agent, in the real estate business.
Not every football career ends with football. I mean, guys go on to do a lot of different stuff. Sometimes your career is only a couple of years. You make the most of it, and shoot, we'll still remember you here. You served your time playing football, and
hey, he's a college football national champ.
You were a national champ, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why you go to college and you get your degree, because football doesn't last forever. And what are you going to do afterwards? You go into the real estate business
or into coaching.
Yep. All right. Anything else that's popped up since we've been talking here?
Not really, unless you're ready for me to lecture you about the book I got in the mail.
No.
Called The Art of the Batman.
No, we don't want your movie book talked about here. You got other outlets.
I mean,
for that.
we could talk about literally anything else other than another losing Lions season. Goodness gracious.
No, this was interesting. Our history lesson this week is about the Detroit Lions' winless season. And you would think we're talking about 2008, but no. We're talking about 1942. Question. What do quarterback Baker Mayfield, halfback Frank Sinkwich, quarterback Matthew Stafford, quarterback John Elway, and running back Ricky Bell all have in common? The answer: they were all number 1 overall picks in the NFL draft by teams that had posted a winless record the year before. In 2008, the Detroit Lions accomplished the unthinkable. They were the first team to ever go 0-16 in an NFL season. In doing so, they earned the number 1 overall pick in the 2009 NFL Draft and used it to select quarterback Matthew Stafford out of Georgia. The 2008 Lions were 2 games worse than the last winless NFL team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who went 0-14 in 1976. They selected running back Ricky Bell out of USC with the number 1 overall pick in the 1977 NFL Draft. But that was not the first time that the Lions went winless in an NFL season. The first time was back in 1942, when the team posted an 0-11 record. The 1942 Lions' regular season began on September 20th with a road game against the Chicago Cardinals. The Lions were shut out that day 13-0. The next week, Detroit was shut out again, this time at home by the Cleveland Rams 14-0. In Week 3, the Lions finally scored their first points of the season in a 28-7 home loss to the Brooklyn Dodgers. After starting the season 0-3 with 2 shutouts, Lions owner Fred Mandel had seen enough. He fired head coach Bill Edwards, who was in his second season as head coach of the Lions. Edwards had posted a 4-6-1 record with the Lions in 1941. He was replaced by assistant coach Bull Karsus for the remainder of the season. But Karsus did not fare any better. Over the remaining 8 games, the Lions endured 3 more shutouts: on the road to the Chicago Cardinals 7-0, to the Chicago Bears on the road 16-0, and to the Chicago Bears at home 3 weeks later 42-0. Detroit's final game of the season was on November 29th, when they hosted the Washington Redskins at Brick Stadium and lost 15-3. The Lions then had the number 1 overall pick in the 1943 NFL Draft and selected Heisman Trophy winning halfback Frank Sinkwich out of Georgia. The Cleveland Browns were the second team to go 0-16 in 2017, and they selected Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma with the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. After the strike-shortened 1982 season, the Baltimore Colts selected quarterback John Elway from Stanford after they posted an 0-8-1 record. Elway, however, did not want to play for Baltimore and forced a trade, which sent him to the Denver Broncos. In 1942, the Detroit Lions suffered 5 shutouts and did not score more than 7 points in any game on their way to an 0-11 record. However, just 10 years later, in 1952, the Lions won an NFL title, the first of 3 during the decade of the 1950s.
You know, I strongly advised you from staying away from this topic for this week because we've already had 1 Lions losing season, which is bad enough. And the fact you have to bring up another losing season, why?
Yes, but like I said...
Why?
Like I said in
Why?
the story, 1942 they had a losing season, but in 1952 they won a world championship, their first of 3 during the decade of the 50s. So they made a turnaround 10 years later, became a good team.
Guess what? 2008 losing season.
Yeah, 2018 they should have won another title.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing the results there, Randy.
Yeah, well, not yet.
It's been 15 years and they still haven't done anything.
Yeah.
The quarterback they drafted after that losing season went and won a Super Bowl with a different team.
That's right.
God.
Hey, this is going to be our year.
Now I'm upset.
The Lions
I'm very upset. You know I hate getting upset while doing this podcast. Bad enough having to talk to you, but then you have to bring up the losing Lions seasons, and it just makes it even worse. What are we doing? Move on.
Moving
Come
on. Our upcoming events calendar. Saturday, April 23rd, the National Arena League season begins. We'll have more scores probably from those games. Thursday, April 28th through the 30th, the NFL Draft in Las Vegas.
Oh, we're so close.
We're going to get in the car and drive over there?
Nope.
No? Okay. May 3rd, the CFL Draft with the Edmonton Elks holding the #1 overall pick in that draft.
I'll cross the border for that draft.
Yeah, that's
Let's go sit in like some random
That's a Tuesday.
CFL bar and just start chanting for video call or whatever they do.
Eat some poutine and
yeah, there you go.
watch the draft on Canadian television.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Tuesday, May 17th. You're seriously going to try and do this podcast?
Oh, we're going to do this podcast without you. If we have to burn this place to the ground, it will happen.
Probably will. Let's see. Thursday.
Minus you. Hey, you left that out. It's the show minus you having my brother come in as the co-host to fill in your shoes, which shouldn't be that hard to fill.
Oh, okay.
So.
I can't wait to listen to this to see what kind of
buffoonery
is going to go on that day.
Oh God, I hope we make a mockery of your podcast. Never want to do it again. You guys tainted it, and I want nothing to do with it ever again.
Thursday, June 9th, the CFL regular season begins with a game between the Montreal Alouettes and the Calgary Stampeders. And finally, on our upcoming events list, Thursday, August 4th, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Lots of good football coming up in the next few months before the NFL season kicks off.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well,
that's it. Is that the show?
That's the show.
Oh, my goodness, that's the show.
That's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address, as always, is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo, where you can also follow us over there on Twitter. The address is the exact same thing, at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so please subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm Adam Snow.
And we'll see you all next week.